CM Games released the early access version of Into the Radius 2, and if you were a fan of the first game, I can almost without a shadow of a doubt say you are going to enjoy the second. There has been some major improvements, and overall the feel of the game still has that Into the Radius feel in and of itself. Not to say I didn't run into any issues, but it is early access, and this video is to help you decide if you want to get this game now, or maybe wait until a little bit later. Since I've already played the PC VR version, I do want to get a few things out of the way. There is one map missing currently on the Quest standalone version, as well as one mechanic that has to do with anomalies missing so far. Other than that, everything is very one-to-one and feels just as good as the PC VR version pertaining to how the game runs. The current amount of content in the game offers you anywhere from 5 to 9 hours of gameplay. It kind of really depends on if you're going to be someone who is forward moving constantly, not necessarily going in and doing all the side objectives, more or less just focusing on the main top priority things that come across your menu screen. There are 2 maps currently within this version. Again, that third piece is missing, which is the Pechorsk outskirts. The peninsula, which is going to be your smaller map here, and the forest. I'm going to say the forest is definitely a pretty large location, although whenever Standalone does get that new outskirts map, that is going to make forest look like a more medium-sized endeavor, although the density on forest makes it a lot more scalable and feels as though you are always encountering something regardless of the distance that you have really traveled within that map. Visually, for an early access game, I think that it's doing a fantastic job with what it has to work with. Remember, this is all running on standalone, especially at the scale that we're seeing. This is darn good. Just to talk a little bit about the weapons, there is so much here that has really changed, and we're seeing improvements over the first game by leaps and bounds. If you were like me and you did enjoy the weapon cleaning, but it wasn't as in-depth as you would have liked it to be, or didn't really have a great way of showing you constantly where you have missed or need to clean, this game does a much better job at that. This is more of like a power wash simulator versus what we used to have. I will say the highlighting of the specific parts was nice, but the way that they do it in Into the Radius 2 just feels a lot better, and I think it's still going through iterative changes. Another change to the weapons that I do thoroughly enjoy is that not all weapons are available in the store. The GSH, for example, is only found in the Radius. I'm not sure if this is going to change, but both the PC VR version and the standalone version are like this. It's a wonderful change, and I absolutely love that there is a reason for me to kind of look out for these weapon parts and not just constantly be able to afford them. Furthermore, there are visual variants out in the world versus the one that you have in the store, or at least there's a chance to have that visual variation. All of this on top of getting unique visual weapons from the UNPSC after you complete missions for them. Gameplay-wise, they have changed a lot. I would say that the new tablet that they have is a lot better than the map that we used personally. There is a big difference on how you interact with Radiant quests or repetitive quests. Currently, and I think this is going to be changed eventually, there are a few quests like getting a artifact or some form of anomaly from the Radius and actually bringing it back to base to turn it in for quests. And these are just a variant of quests that is there to give you more points so you can work towards upping your security level and unlocking that next priority mission. These repetitive missions can kind of be completed very easily if you are hoarding these items. I don't know if this is going to change again, but I do expect by the time full release happens, we will see this change to where you're not really able to hoard these anomalies within home base. The last thing I want to talk about is the enemies. There are a pretty hefty variety here. Overall, the only issue that I think that I've encountered with them is just I feel like they can just see you from too far away and kind of see you through things that I feel as though it'd be hard to actually get them through, or actually you to see them through. So I would recommend, for now, turning the view distance, or the distance at which they can detect you, down on both the hearing as well as the visual. Armor is going to play a huge role in this, and just the amount of variety that we have with custom rigs is such a welcome improvement of what we had in the first game that you're going to find yourself having a fantastic time with different builds and strategies as you continue to progress in Into the Radius 2. Let's go ahead and talk about the issues that I encountered that may be a little much if you are someone who's very nitpicky. If you enjoyed the video so far, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button. Other than that, I also want to state, please keep in mind, this is very early access. Does the game run? Absolutely. Does it run as well as it would if it is fully released? Absolutely not. So please keep in mind, it is early access, and these are going to be things that are fixed. One thing on my list I already mentioned is the game is nice, but it does have stutters at times due to the fact that it more than likely is loading new parts of the map with both the loot as well as enemies when you kind of get within the radius of those assets needing to be loaded in for the player. Secondly, the render distance sometimes on these fights just feels like it's low. And this is a separate issue from the view distance that the enemies can see you. And I think it does, however, go hand in hand with it. There are times that there is just fog that really feels like it is Silent Hill fog, just really making it as though you cannot see from such a distance that it doesn't feel fair that the enemy can see you. That said, I think it has to do with specific times of day versus actual use in optimization. Another issue that I ran into that I didn't have in the PC VR version was actually storing the tripod for one of the main quests in the holster. I put it in the holster, and unfortunately by the time I got back to be able to turn it in, it would not be removed from the holster. So in its current state, please make sure that you are carrying the tripods. It's a known issue. It's been reported multiple times. It's already been addressed and stated that they are fixing it. So no super big worries here. The only other thing that I want to say, and this is kind of the biggest issue, is needing to fully stop to grab anything off your character. What's going on right now and the way that it's working is it feels as though the vest is lagging behind the player's rendered model. So whenever you run, if you want to put your pistol away or your weapon away, you have to reach further back to do that. Or if you want to grab ammo and clips, magazines off of your vest, you need to kind of dig deeper, if that makes sense. The easiest way to not have to worry about this, unfortunately, is full stopping, grabbing a magazine, reloading your gun, and then moving again, which is not great when you have multiple enemies coming after you, getting in your face, and not really allowing you to do anything to combat that. This has also been addressed, and I haven't seen any ETA for these fixes, but I know that the devs care enough to make sure that they come sooner rather than later, and more than likely will not be part of a major patch, but will be part of the next smaller patch that comes to the game, if I had to make a guess. All this being said, I absolutely think Into the Radius 2 Early Access in its current state is still well worth playing. I think being able to get in before full release, as well as having your voice heard within the development, is probably one of the most important things you can do as a gamer, and kind of voice your opinion on how you want the direction of things to go. Keep in mind, a lot of stuff is established, but they are always taking suggestions in the Discord, and I will link their Discord below in the comment section or the description of the video. There is also a code for 15% off. This is not my quest code. I don't get any kickback from it. This is just a code that the developers provided me for a promotion that they're running for the early access to get 15% off. That said, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, subscribe, and I want to thank you for allowing me to make my reality part of your virtual reality. See you next time.